So, hello, good evening everyone. We're finally back. It's been a long break, but we're finally back here in the US with test race with our new WEC series on the circuit, the Catalunya Barcelona here in Spain. And I hope audio is fine. You can hear me well enough, you can hear the cars well enough. And we're starting with a 10 minutes long session here in qualifying, and then we have 2 hours of racing, twice a stint of 1 hour. You can see the LMP2 cars here, like Top Racer in the Peugeot. Still finding the track. You can see GTDs, GT cars like Noschel, like Masma, and you can see Simtech here in the Porsche LMP1 car. So we have 3 categories on track, and I really hope that this is going to be a very exciting evening for us. So, who's on a flying lap? Everyone on the out lap. Nuschel is starting a lap. He has collected a time penalty, but let's see what he can do in the Mercedes AMG. Estimated lap time of 1 minute 39, maybe even a 38 is something we can expect from the GT cars. To the long turn 3, you can really feel how heavy these cars are in comparison to the LMP cars. Hi, Tornado. Hope you're fine. Enjoy the evening and the race. The RC car will have to serve the penalty. Let's see what the quick LMP2 driver Octavian can do. A bit wide here, not the best connection to the lobby. The LMP1 of Simtech. The LMP1, obviously the quickest car. We will see probably 1 minute 23 and 1 minute 26, 27 from the LMP2. So there is a 3 to 4 second time difference between the LMPs. Noschel with a 39.4, which is a great lap considering that he had to serve a time penalty. Whereas Octavian, penultimate corner, now the last turn, and he clocks in with a 1 minute 28.3. Now the quickest car on track, Simtech in the Porsche, for 1 minute 24.7. Philip for DLL in the other Mercedes on track, now setting his first lap time. Nuschel with a strong lap time. Let's see what he can do, if he can beat it. Or slots in P4. It is P4 for the moment. A 1 minute 39.41. 39.9. The timing was incorrect for a moment. And now Top Racer is on his flying lap. He has traffic in front of him. Philip is on a quick lap himself, so he doesn't have to make way. He does anyway, but it seems like Top Racer went wide and probably lost time doing that. Comrade, another RC driver, interesting livery on his outlap in Sector 1. Another driver Hydramix, new driver, just joined DAS, I think last week, and very motivated for the race. Beautiful car, the McLaren MR car, but really stable, almost like a front engine car. And Masma, another RSC driver in the Ford. I'm really glad that we have this car in Gran Turismo 7. It looks absolutely stunning, beautifully. And the livery very close, basically the same livery than the original, just with the typical colors of RSC. No blue, but therefore we have the black on front. Simtek on a quick lap, but with traffic, and that was where would we have a Hydramix, and with a lot of damage. Tricky section there, it is uphill, and traction isn't always there, as you have seen. Simtek, despite this, able to improve his lap time even further. Yeah, in chat. Apologies sent. Nevertheless, this can be 24-3, maybe a 2. Let's see. Even a 24-0. Nushel currently in second position, I guess, because some drivers are in the pit lane right now. We have Jakal off track. Now rejoining. Octavian on his outlap. Nushel is following Top Racer. And we have roughly 2 minutes to go in this qualifying session before we start with the first stint. Ah, Dirk, ja, da hast du mich wohl, ich habe wohl den Titel nicht geändert. Ich glaube, das kann ich jetzt auch nicht mehr. Einfach so von der PlayStation aus. Ja, es war eine lange Sommerpause eigentlich, seit dem letzten Rennen. Ich hoffe, ihr könnt es mir verzeihen. Anyway, Top Racer P3 right now. Wow, improving by almost half a second in the first sector alone. He has traffic in front of him. It's Comrade, it's another fellow LMP2 and RC driver, so I think they can watch out for each other. That Top Racer will not get a stop. Behind him though is Simtek in the LMP1. So, qualifying is over the 10 minutes. Anyone who has started his lap time can now finish it. Let's see if Octavian can improve possibly. Simtek already stopped. Hydromix set his lap time 35, that's his out lap. He can't improve anymore. Masma. Can he improve? One corner to go, and I think maybe with exception of one driver that this concludes the qualifying. Yes, he improves by half a tenth. Great job. Nuschel is done. Top racer can improve his lap time. Last two corners flat out and bit of a lift, but then again flat out. Unfortunately, no improvement. And Octavian is over the line as well. Okay, then we can start the race. Hi Fire, good evening. Thank you for following. We were inactive for quite a while, but now we're finally back and we're looking for this event plus a possible of 3 more test races this year. Maybe a special event, and then come finally back fully for endurance racing next year. So we are set. I see that the qualifying didn't work out because we have visual glitches and some LMP2s. You can see Comrade, who was behind. Please don't get too distracted by that second place LMP2. That's Octavian, who apparently has a bad internet connection. This is the formation lap. As you may be aware of, that the in-game starts from Gran Turismo aren't the best. We are using lap 1 as a formation lap, and after that, after the end of lap 1 with a custom start, the race is underway, and then we have 47 laps of racing. Hi Tom Soft. Yeah, your teammate looking good, quick, but laggy. I stay on the leader Simtek for the start, and then go back to Nuschel, who's the quickest driver of the GTs. What can you do? It's not like they can afford proper lobbies or servers. Anyway, around 80 kph, Simtek is allowed to start the race alone in his group, and he does that in this moment. Now the LMP2s. Octavian accelerates, top racer, damn Comrade looks perfectly as it should be, well done. Comrade with a good drive, but top racer in the slipstream. And we jump back. Nuschel already accelerated. Then we have Philip for DLL, Masma, and then Hydra Mix. And the race is underway. all categories started, and Hydramix with the attack and gained the position from Masma. Let's look through the field. Simtek obviously in the quickest car away. Then we have Octavian lagging his way in second position, first in class before Top Racer, and then Comrade. No changes at the front in the GT category. Nuschel and then Philip for the LL, both drivers in the Mercedes AMG, and they look similarly paced, and I think Hydramix and Masma are similarly paced as well. Hydramix gained a position, the only driver to gain a position in this first lap so far, and then Masma, probably not the quickest driver, but he's doing his best and keeping it on the black stuff, and that's the most important thing in endurance racing. First lap, the gap is already around 10 seconds. Then we have Octavian. The LMP2s are evenly spread out with around 2 seconds between each of them, and Comrade already has a time penalty. As you can see, half a second. There's a mandatory penalty zone in this game. It will come up in a couple of corners, and the driver has to take it automatically by the game, and I'm really happy with this feature, that they improved this. You can see it upcoming after this corner. Kamsa, here are the yellow lines, and now the penalty is served. Easy at that. Nuschel leads 1.2 seconds before Philip. The closest battle we have on track for the moment. And yeah, we lost Masma. There he is. Oh no. No, it was Comrade. Comrade spun in the last corner. Luckily, he didn't touch anything. But something happened there clearly. He lost touch with Top Racer, who is now 14 seconds ahead of him. You can take the last 2 corners flat out, but you have to hit them perfectly. And when you hit the inside curb, the car gets very unstable very quick. So you have to manage that loose rear, and I think he just touched too much curb and spun. Philip still close to Nuschel. And nice to see Hydramix keeping touch. And a nice drift here. Hi Kevin. Hope you're alright. Hope your brake pedals are working well. And have fun. Top Racer, I'm not sure if you saw it, probably spun in the last corner. Has a bit of a gap now, but it's early in the race, so doesn't have to worry. P1, LMP1, Simtek with a time penalty. The gap is about 18 seconds. Hi, how do you pronounce that? Melodischen. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for being in chat. And I hope you enjoyed the race. Yeah, if we look on the map, Here we see second to last corner, Simtek, and on the start-finish straight we have P8 Masma, so we're going to see the LMP1 lapping cars in this lap or the next lap. Yeah, fingers crossed for you that everything works. Yeah, we were able to see Masma's Ford in that picture. Now we have the first time that an LMP1 hits a GT car on track in this race. You can see the blue flags. Oh, unfortunately, Comrade left the room, whilst Simtek easily passed Masma on the start, on the straight, back straight. And for some reason, I'm in the race now. As you can see, P8, the little shots without a flag. Yeah. Oh, Simtek overtook Hydramix in the last corner. That was brave. Kevin, maybe you can get some information what happened, and let me know, because I'm a bit occupied, as you can see. Yeah, that's a shame that we lost a driver so early in the race. Next is Philip. Similar position. Maybe he can get him, yeah, beautifully on the exit, because this part is not the best for lapping other cars. But it got through beautifully. Now Nuschel, and there's then some time where there's just an empty road ahead of him. Not the easiest to overtake in general in the last sector. He tries to go around the outside. That doesn't work, unfortunately. Now on this short straight on the inside. And here we have the LMP2s. Ja, Tomsoft. Die Ergebnisse vom ersten Stint ist die Startreihenfolge vom zweiten. In dem Sinne ist kein weiteres Quali nötig. Top Racer EMP3 just gained a time penalty of half a second, nothing too big. Hydramix, and here we have Masma, who gets blue flags from the LMP2s behind him. We're entering Sector 2. Lapping is not easy here, but Masma sees the other car and lifts the throttle, so Octavian can go by easily. Hi Ben. Greetings, hope you're fine. You enjoyed the race. Oh, Hydramix went over the curb and used the AstroTurf and had a big slide. Almost collected Octavian. Glad that turned out well. Could have been a nasty accident. And Top Racer is the next one to pass the GT cars. Nine laps completed. Obviously, we see different laps completed by different categories. The LMP1 will complete every of the 48 laps. The LMP2 probably 45, and the GTs around 40. Top Racer on the outside, thanks to massive downforce of these cars, no problem. Really nice livery, I have to say, on this Peugeot. Around the outside again, I hope Hydrax sees the LMP, can slot in before. A bit of a misunderstanding it seemed like. Oh no, 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 no. Hydromix lost it. I think his car is generally a lot oversteery. A lot of oversteer and drifts. We see Octavian. He already lapped the DLL car and now is behind Nuschel. He has to wait for turn 1, position himself correctly for turn 2 and 3, and around the outside, beautifully done. Clean move. And yeah, I'm happy to see that this works out well. The drivers look after each other. Obviously, we have very skilled drivers here. I think the first 4 or 5 drivers are all ranked A or A+. So really high quality of drivers. Simtic, bit on his own again. Yep, that was what we thought. Already in lap 11. And we see the tires are a bit worn at the front. And we talked about strategy, and it's likely that we see only one stop, but maybe we can have a soft medium or a soft soft, or even 2 stops. So there are different possibilities what we can see. In pit lane, traffic is always important in endurance racing. You don't want to lose time in traffic. We have 7 cars currently on track. Unfortunately, we lost Comrade. So it's not the biggest of deals today, but definitely something one has to keep in mind. It's great to see that Octavian, it's still not the best connection, but I believe it has improved. Maybe just wishful thinking. Top Racer through the LMPs. Now Nuschel ahead. And then we have to wait a bit until we meet another LMP versus GT fight. Top Racer around the outside. Nuschel sees him. Yeah, a bit tricky in the middle sector and the last sector, but they managed that well. Simtek with 40 seconds lead, so on average I would say 3.5 seconds quicker than the LMP2s. Masma ahead, and it seems like he is not able to overtake him before the corner, but he lunged for it anyway. Masma left the door open, bit of oversteer moment. Yeah, and one can see it is not easy to find the quickest way around to the GTs. You have to take risks, and you obviously don't want to lose time. This time it worked out for Simtek. We have Hydromix in the pit lane. I stay on this pit stop because we can see another change for this game, for Gran Turismo 7. We can adjust the speed a car can be refueled. It is 2 liters per second. Why 2 liters? Because this is as close as possible to real pit stop times that are present in the WEC, which are trying to emulate, obviously. So refueling takes time, it is long, and that can make lift and coast a lot more interesting. Saving fuel can become more valuable. We see that he went on hard tires. Obviously racing softs, medium and hards are available, and I think that he can drive to the end with this combination. Blue flags for Philip as Simtek sweeps around the outside through turn 3 and now has the left Hydromix in front of him. Great. Really great to see. Hydromix saw him and Simtek could easily adjust his racing line. Fair racing. Great job, and I'm happy to see that this whole concept, which is truly one of a kind for Gran Turismo, is working so far. We stay on Simtek's car a bit longer because he's approaching Top Racer, who is 5 to 6 seconds ahead of him. So we're going to see the first lapping between an LMP2 and an LMP1 car. Difference between the LMPs to the GTs is massive. It's around 10 and 15 seconds, but the difference between the LMP1 and 2 is just 3 to maximum of 5 seconds. And I wonder how easy or how difficult it can be to lap those cars. Keep in mind that the LMP2s are effectively the same Group 1 cars for the game. Those were LMP1 cars effectively, but we introduced a custom BOP to make those cars in the performance window of an LMP2 car. Simtek went really wide there at the end of turn 9. Somehow did not got a penalty for that, and the gap is probably 1.5 seconds only between those two. Oh, 2.5 seconds for Simtek as he cut the penultimate corner. That hurts. Top Racer gets lapped here, doesn't put up a fight, obviously well done. Top speed difference is there, but definitely not the greatest. Maybe 15 kilometers per hour. Let's see, Simtek has a massive penalty. He probably will lose track position. well, track position. He's still in P1. Top Racer will get a chance to unlap himself. 2.5 seconds is a lot. Let's see. Simtek has to take it on this straight. Great job. He's taking the penalty offline. And Top Racer got close, but in the end it wasn't quite enough to retake that position, and obviously probably the smarter move, because lapping and letting the LMP1 overtake would cost even more time. Octavian, P2, a bit of no man's land right now, no one really around him. Top Racer had some issues and is lapped right now. Then we have Nuschel in 4th position and 7 seconds ahead of Philip. Kevin, you're starting last of the LMP2s, so ahead of all GTD cars. So that would be P4. Not the back of the grid, the back of the grid of the LMP2 class. The categories start together. So roughly 1/3 of the race done. Tires don't look too great on the GTD's cars. Philip has more than half of his tires used on the left side. And maybe we see some different strategies. Nuschel used even more tires. So maybe he goes for a pit stop and uses medium set, or is going for a 2-stop. That's the option we have here. Really excited how this is going to plan out for our 2 or even 3 hour stints, because the soft tires are really soft, really not holding on for a long time. And if you use a different strategy, save tires, lift and coast, you could maybe save 1 or 2 pit stops over such a long stint. Lap times are about equal between those two. And that sounded like Poctavian's LMP2 behind Philip. Around the outside in turn 3. Yes. Well done. And next one is Nuschel. I cannot catch him before turn. Sector 3. Sector 3, obviously really tight corners, 2nd gear or 3rd gear, and then this old layout with the 2 flowing quick chicanes. And Nuschel is the first to pit here. Let's see what he decides. What is his strategy? Medium tires would indicate that this is his first and only stop. Soft tires, I would say, is a 2-stop. Obviously, we can see how much fuel he's going to take. New tires are on. Fuel is in, and this is going to take a while, obviously. A short stop, probably. Yes, soft tires. And that indicates a second stop. So Nuschel on a 2-stopper. Lost position to Philip, who has not stopped yet. On track ahead of him is Hydramix, who is lapped. And that went easy as well. Top racer behind the both of them. Seems like he has to wait after those 2 corners. Not quite easy where to go, outside or inside. Goes for the outside and makes a stick. And got Nuschel as well. Nuschel left the door open and Top Racer went through. No pit stop so far for the LMP cars, although tire situation looks a bit not too bright, a bit dark for Simtek, especially left front is gone. Half of the race would be lap 23, lap 24 probably for him. So he has to hang in there for a couple more laps before he can visit the pit lane. Octavian's tires look great. Obviously the medium tires. Why the medium tires? Because this is an official rule of the WEC. So no tire issues for the LMP2s, but obviously fuel is low. It's around 20 liters if I see that correctly, so they have to pit for fuel. Interesting to see what Philip is about to do. He has track position right now, but Nuschel is closing the gap. Philip is going to pit now, and it's going to be interesting what his strategy is going to be like. He lost almost 2 seconds on track since Nuschel pitted, so he definitely will be behind. I hope he's going for medium tires so we can compare the 2 different strategies. That's Nuschel who's going by. Long stop. That could be mediums. Yes! Great! Really happy that we have 2 different strategies to compare here. So we have Nuschel with track position and 18 seconds lead. Why is this gap so big? It was only about 7-8 seconds. Well, the undercut was really helpful, and Philip has fuel for the end of the race, while Nuschel underfueled the car. You can see quite clearly here in comparison, because he will stop once more and then has to take a lot of fuel, but also has new fresh soft tires. Masma was in the pit lane with that beautiful Ford GT. We have completed more than 30 minutes, so more than half of the race distance. I wonder when we see the LMP2 cars. Ooh, that was really close. Really close between those two. No damage. I think, yeah, Philip was not happy about that. That obviously lag was involved, but that looked really last second. And not easy for GT to decide if he can take the corner, if he has to leave the door open. Lap 24. Wow, this soft tire on the front left is absolutely gone on Simtek's Porsche. I assume we will see pit stop right now. It's half race distance done. It would make sense. Fuel is not the biggest issue. He has around 20 liters left. So he needs to refuel probably, let's say, 15 liters and he should be fine. Oh no! Simtek missed the pit entry and has to recover now. I thought, yeah, he's going in there quite quick. And he missed the pit entry. Oops. Can someone clip that, please? Oh, Jesus. And out he goes again, obviously still in P1 and with a repaired car. And a 3 seconds time penalty because he crossed the pit entry line on top of that. He's behind a GT car, that's Hydra Mix. Very fair. Neutral looking for Slipstream to gain time in the battle against Philip. Let's see, what's the gap? 26 seconds? That's a bit much. That's a bit much. The medium tire is obviously slower. High 40s. For the LR at the moment. Top Racer in clear air, Octavian with clean air as well, and Simtek with a lot of clean air right now, so our 3 remaining LMP drivers with a breather right now, but obviously the LMP2 cars do need to make a pit stop, if not for tires, at least for fuel. Octavian probably with around 10 liters left, so pit stop can't be long. Changing tires in Gran Turismo is generally really quick, maybe 3-4 seconds. So I would be surprised if they wouldn't take it and continue on this set of tires. especially because they are spread out a bit and not in direct battle against each other. So it's not worth the risk in my opinion. Top Racer stays out as well. It looks like a bit of lag, but touching that inside curb can be very tricky. Very tricky. Hey Joe! Great to see you back. Hope you're fine. Thank you for the follow. I will think the re-follow. Enjoy. Oh, the not so chill test race as Philip. Almost threw it away. That car was sideways, big time. But great job catching the car and having eyes in the rear mirror and seeing that Top Racer is arriving and that he needs to give space. Masma and Hydromix are still close. Hydromix had a couple of accidents, that's why he's left, but in general he's pacing around the same lap times as Masma, and I hope Masma can catch him a bit so they can fight. Simtic, lap 28, just lapped the DLL car. Octavian still not going into the pit lane. Nuschel, when did he stop? If we look at the lap times, it had to be lap 16, so that would mean lap 32 is his next pit stop. He's extending his lead to Philip, who is on the medium tires. You see his last lap time on 1 minute 45. He had a mistake there, but catched it brilliantly. .6, so the medium tire is around a second slower at the beginning of the stint. Let's see. Top Racer is going to get lapped a second time now. He was already lapped, but could unlap himself because Simtic took the pit stop. Speaking of Simtic, he has to serve a 1 second time penalty, if I caught that correctly. He definitely has to serve a time penalty on the straight. That gives Top Racer some breathing room, and he probably will survive. Maybe until sector 2. He has, what car is that? That's Nuschel, P4, ahead of him. So that's going to be interesting. The slowest car is in front, the second quickest car in the middle, and the quickest car behind, and they all want to lap each other, and it somehow works. It somehow works, and Simtech went through the middle there. Top Racer was on the racing line, left side. Nuschel stayed completely on the inside, and Simtech, like the knife that goes through hot butter, through the middle. Yeah, nice to see that even if there are some riskier moves, drivers look after each other, and it works out quite well so far. Hydromix with a wide line, giving racing room for Simtech. He caught it. Yeah, he caught it. A lot of traffic. Top Racer gets one driver. There was Masma in the last corner. He got Hydromix. I think Top Racer definitely lost a bit of time there, but kept his nose clean. That's the most important thing, as Octavian just lapped DLL and is going to the pits right now. He did 30 laps on those tires. That's impressive. Okay, he can go for one more lap, obviously. Kudos to Top Racer, by the way, who had in the early stage of the race problems, lost touch, and was far behind really early, but he keeps on doing a good job and definitely maintaining or even closing the gap to Octavian time to time. And Top Racer in the pit lane, and I think that sound was clear what that meant. He must have touched the wall there as well. So I assume a new set of medium tires and fuel for the next 15 laps it's going to be for him probably. Around 20 liters. Okay, that should be enough. Unfortunate mistake. Top Racer steered for some reason to the left side after he was released from pit and crossed the line. It's resulting 3-second time penalty. Octavian right behind him. That's almost a lap, not quite, but obviously Octavian has to pit. Can't understand how Octavian has few left. It looks like nothing is left here. He's squeezing everything out of that Peugeot and is going to lap Top Racer because he has to serve a time penalty. Right now, yeah. They went. Nuschel in the pit lane, so we go to that and then change back to Octavian to see what he's doing. But Nuschel needs to go for another set of soft tires and refuel the car heavily. Jakal Philip is 40 seconds behind, so he definitely should come out ahead. Octavian is still continuing. Okay, I can't believe that this guy still has fuel left in his tank. Long stint, and where is Philip? Here, Philip is ahead by 5 meters. So we can stay a bit on this battle because Nuschel should easily overtake Philip now. He has tires that are 1 second quicker by default. Philip's tires are worn, so probably more like 1.5 seconds. They are indeed on equal machinery, but the tire advantage should be great enough that Nuschel should overtake Philip soon. Yellow flag as Hydromix stood in the wrong way. Philip maybe was a bit surprised in here. We had a big contact. It looked like Nuschel missed his braking point. For some reason Nuschel has no damage while Philip has damage on the front despite... okay, that doesn't make any sense. I understand that Philip has damage, but it doesn't make sense that the damage would be on front because he was the leading driver of the two. And Nuschel has no damage at all, so yeah. Lobby still not exactly where we need them to be, unfortunately. Thank you. Thank you. It's looked different for me. But I guess then Masma was on his inside. Still a bit weird for me. Yeah. I had a league race yesterday where I sent someone to barrier and for me there was no contact at all, or maybe even a very slight contact, and the other person got completely murdered. Maybe something like that happened here as well. Octavian on his very last liter of fuel coming into the pit lane. Around 10 laps to go for him. There you go. New medium tires. Bit of fuel. And there it goes again. Simtek leading race comfortably. Doing a great job, not because he's leading, but because he's managing traffic really well so far. No mistakes and clean maneuvers. There were 1 or 2 tricky situations, but on all really fair racing between all drivers. Nuschel ahead of Philip after the incident. Bit frustrating that this happened this way, but I would like to see Nuschel's perspective of this incident to understand what really happened. I think it's possible that it looked completely different on his side. Philip, in the meantime, back on soft tires, so had to take a forced 2-stop as well. Masma, we had Masma not on screen for a very long time. Unfortunately, race more or less completely on his own, but after problems early in the stint, consistent lap times where he can do, keeping it on the black stuff and bring the car home. That Ford just looks gorgeous. Really like it with the black as well. I like the blue, but black works fine as well. Looked to Simtek because he's going to lap multiple cars. There was Philip in a Mercedes GT car. Next up is Top Racer in third position and an LMP2, and then if I think it's Nuschel. No, it was Hydra Mix. And now it's Top Racer. So a lot of action for Octavian, lapping almost half of the field in one lap. Let's compare top speeds to 80 to 70 to 88 to 89. Yeah, so about 10 to 12 kph difference between the two categories. Obviously, the goal of such races to get information about such things and see if we need to adjust something, if it's better to give the LMP a bit more straight line speed, but therefore a bit more weight, or even less weight and less engine power, something like this, to give the right balance. So far I'm quite happy where we are with the LMP1 and LMP2. Not easy to say about the GTs because two cars closely matched are the same car. It's going to be a real challenge for the next upcoming month. But yeah, definitely hope after this race is concluded that we can announce a second test race fairly soon. Blue flags for Nuschel as Simtek is arriving. There goes the Porsche driver. And Octavian lapping Philip on the back straight. Yeah, in a way I'm sorry because this race isn't the most eventful. But in a way I'm really happy that it's not really dramatic, because it means that the system, the drivers look after each other, the system, the lapping works, that it can be entertaining at times when drivers are close to each other. We saw that this is great, but when drivers are spread out, which happens in endurance races, obviously, it is no problem for them to navigate traffic, and we can have interesting battles within groups. Apparently Philip has to pit once again. He had to take an unscheduled pit stop and switch back to the soft tires after he got damaged. But apparently he has forgot to refuel the car, or was off with his estimate when race should end. He has to pit next lap apparently. A bit of fuel is still left in that Mercedes. We have Simtech in the end of the lap 46, so it's going to be 6 more laps. And he's also short on fuel, but I'm convinced that this is enough to get it over the line. Octavian and Top Racer should have enough fuel as well for the next 5 to 6 laps. Nuschel is closing in on his RC colleague Masma in a Ford GT. And simple as that, he's gone by, no problems at all. Masma takes the slipstream and continues with the race. Octavian comes up in the background, is going to lap both of them in this lap. Got a bit wide. Racing car of the GTs. A bit in the middle sometimes, part of turn 3. So it's not quite easy to get there around the outside. And having to put trust in your competitor, that he sees you, that he doesn't do anything silly as Octavian. I hope this is real big lag. And it will sort itself out. That doesn't look good. No input. I think we lost Octavian here. Yeah. That's very unfortunate. And time. Look at the graphic. What is that? What are these Chinese letters? Honestly. What the? Come on! Come on, Gran Turismo, why is that? Okay, if I'm on top racer, there's just a giant gap, and you can barely see that there's something in the background. If I move it, it is gone. And yeah, you can see that I'm still in P8. Behind that, P7. Now I'm in P7, and P8 is our player. Yeah, great job, PD. Yeah, really unfortunate that we lost Octavian so close to the end of the race. I was really hoping that it was lag and not a driving error by him, and that he regains control and it would be fine, but unfortunately, yeah, it wasn't fine. Simtech on his last 3.5 laps. Barely no tires left. Yeah, not rage quit. Yeah, that would have been surprised me really if that would have been a rage quit. Looked really like a disconnect, and so close to the end of the race, it wouldn't have made sense to do that. Just continue the last 4 or 5 laps and finish the race. Yeah, unfortunate. Fortunate, obviously, for Top Racer, as he inherits the 2nd place. And Masma apparently miscalculated how long it's going to take to the end of the race. And he's going to have to put fuel in for another 2 or 3 laps. And he got lapped by Philip in 4th position. Simtech lap 46. Yeah, when I changed him, it says Peugeot on the right side, so the graphics, the in-game graphics are yeah, a mess. Let's put it that way. Yeah, a bit unfortunate because racing was great so far, but the game didn't deliver a high or even a decent standard. 2 laps to go for Simtic. It's going to lap Nuschel, who's about to start his 40th lap. No problems. I wonder, as the game since the first disconnect showed me in P8 and now in P7, if I will receive money for this race. I wouldn't be surprised if I get prize money for 7th place and 2,506 credits. Top Racer got past Masma there and has Philip ahead of him. I think this is the last time we see someone lap each other. Philip with a very wide line here makes it easy for Top Racer to get the position. Ah no, our player left and the tower on the left is somewhat okay. Freezy is there as well. He's in the lobby. He shouldn't be, but he is. And Simtek on his final lap, he's going to catch Hydramix. And yeah, Simtek, was apparent that he's going to win that stint. But great job, his tires survived. Would have liked to see him go on the mediums to get a feel for that. Soft tires lasted, but just barely. Two corners to go. No hybrid left. Tire is gone as well. Doesn't matter. Simtek wins the first stint. Top Racer takes its sweet time. Let's see who crossed the line is next. It's Hydramix. We missed him unfortunately. Now Noshel. And then Philip, I guess, top has severe damage, and he's not going to re-overtake. Would be surprised. Let's see the gaps for a second. 4 minutes, 10, 18, 11, 12, 30, and 14, 22. Masma and Top Racer over the line. And yeah, that concludes the first stint. There will be a short break. I'll open up the second lobby and then we'll start soon. Hi Top, good evening. Yeah, I can hear you. You're a bit quiet. Can you put your volume a bit up? Yeah, thank you. How was stint 1 for you? Yeah. Binsley wrote in chat that they can't hear you, so some setting must be off. Can you check your party settings if you're allowed that your voice is shared?
Okay, no, now everyone should hear me.
Thanks.
Can you hear me, chat?
So grid is set up, or is about to get set up. Octavian in second place. No, that doesn't make sense. That takes a bit. Yeah, a bit unfortunate that there was some disconnects. Lobby quality was poor as well, with wrong settings displayed when changing from one car to another, or the gap tower was broken at some point. Yeah, not quite where we needed it to be.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Um, the game's state at the moment is not great. It's putting me off organizing any race on GT7 at the moment. Because I do organize a few races. I still do organize races on GT Sports at the moment because of the state of the lobbies at the moment. But there's an update coming up. Hopefully, we'll get a massive update on lobby's stability, because at the moment, yeah, it's quite crap, let's be honest. It's even for the racecraft, seeing cars lagging like this for the stream, it's not great, it's not natural. What we're trying to do is reproduce real motorsport, and seeing cars lagging like this is just not, it's very poor, not professional. But it's not our fault, it's the game's fault, so we have to live with it until there's an update.
Yeah, quite right. I really would like to start with proper endurance races, but I think more like this, like test races, is just not feasible at the moment.
I think it's nice to have a test race, of course, to see how things are working in the current state of the game. I'd say it's best to wait a little bit. I don't know how everyone is organizing races on GT7 at the moment, because it's just really difficult, very frustrating. Every time you get in the game, you want to have some fun after a hard day at work, and the game doesn't work, and you've paid, I don't know, 100 euros for the anniversary pack, or 70 euros the full game on its release. It's just so frustrating. All that time you wanna enjoy the game, but you can't. It's just so broken at the moment. What a shame. hopefully, yeah. I'm trying to be positive for this game, but it's difficult after 6 months. This game is still so laggy and not so smooth. Like for instance, we raced on GT Sport last weekend with the racing club on a private event, and the lobby was so smooth, no problem, not a single lag. People are not lag here in GT7, but don't lag in GT Sports. So what's the matter with polyphony? We we have a game that is clearly unfinished in terms of network coding or something.
Yeah, it's something I can't wrap my head around because Sport and 7 are separate titles, yes, but they're so similar, and Sport has PS4 and PS5 and it works, and here on GT7 it doesn't work for some reason.
Exactly. So I'd say, to answer your question, should we organize endurance races? I'd say it's best to wait a little bit. I think by the end of the year or next year, or the beginning of next year, we'll have a game that's a bit more stable. Not perfect, but the game developers will get in there, polyphony, and hopefully maybe next year we can start considering this game quite seriously. At the moment, I just still think it's not finished at all. So many things are still broken in the lobbies. Physics got better, that's one thing, so that's why I still have hope for this game. The physics got improved massively on the last update, so they are working on it. I honestly feel that like GT7 was released because Sony was putting pressure on polyphony to resolve the game as quick as possible, and yeah, the polyphony had no choice to release the game in March this year, thinking, oh, okay, well, let's release it, but it's going to be totally broken on its launch, and it was broken. So now they are fixing all the problems. So I can't blame polyphony entirely because they're the broken game. Honestly, I think Sony is also responsible for the problem, and also asking polyphony to release a PS4 version of the game. I think that's also
Yeah, a bit frustrating from my understanding because it was promised, it was advertised as an exclusive PS5 title, and exactly. You went into this game, your expectation, okay, this is a next gen game. It has to make a big jump forwards from GT Sport, and where we started in March, it was basically like a beta version of Sport. It was not a small jump. It was basically we were on the same page. We left Sport on with, I think, one new track, a couple of tracks that came back, and bit different physics model.
Yeah, well, let's wait a couple of months and see where this game is going. But, I mean, we're talking about the negatives at the moment, but let's talk about the positives for a bit, yeah? So what's your positive, Charles? What do you think about what's good about this game? What do you like about it?
Well, in its core, it's still the same game that I loved for years. It's still, in its core, the sport game, which brought me to this community, which led to DAS, which led to a lot of league racing, and I think in some step it moved forward with a new physics model that is now half a year into the game, improved and close to where it should be. We have a different model for setup that works well, and we can continue in generally what we love to do. I'm looking forward for more tracks, obviously, to expand what we offer here in DAS, but having dynamic weather and especially a night and day transition for endurance racing is great. It's just great.
I agree. Yeah, that's one of the strongest points of the game. Day-night cycle and the weather. I've never seen such good dynamic weather in a racing game before, with the wet line, aquaplaning when it's raining very hard, and the dry line, and you can feel the difference of wet line, dry line, where it's wet but still a bit drivable. I've never ever felt like that before in a game, so that's a strong point. And like you, I'm really looking forward to experience long endurance races in these conditions. Like the Nürburgring year, we had fantastic DES Nürburgring 24 hours in Chicanes, and I really loved it. And honestly, I thought, wow, I was going to do seven, and now we've got the answer, but we can't make it because the lobby is broken. But yeah, looking forward to it as well.
So grid is set. P7 is R player, and Hydra Mix paid. So start in 3 minutes. I think that's okay. I can open my Twitch app again, and now I can see chat. Bünzli was quite active. He's driving now. Bit of a shame that the disconnect happened so early.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed that no disconnects happened in the second stint.
Hopefully, yeah.
And yeah, then we start with the custom start. What was your impression on the custom start with having the formation lab sorted into the categories and starting in smaller groups?
It was interesting. I liked reproduce the WEC starts. Although with so little cars, I'll be honest, I don't see really the point. It's probably nicer to be all together when there's so little cars. But it was interesting to experience for once. Maybe on the next race when there's more people interested, yeah, let's do a separated start. That's good.
Yeah. Some suggestions before the race were that the gaps, which are estimated to be 10 to 15 seconds between categories, should be more like 5. Yeah, I think that's an interesting take. We can look into this and bring the categories closer together, and maybe extend this for long tracks like Le Mans or the Nürburgring Nordschleife, where we really have time to stretch out the field. But on normal racetracks, yeah, we can aim for a closer field.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see. But sometimes it's quite spectacular to have all the cars together, like have the Nürburgring 24 hours. They all together, they all start together, and I really like that. It's nice for the pictures as well.
So last minute warning, starting soon. Everyone should know their position. Bit unfortunately that we can't set the grid manually, so we see a lot of drivers changing position, gaining positions or losing position depending where they should start. Bit of confusion, and yeah, something we have to work around because the game doesn't provide it.
It's incredible. How isn't GT4? Oh well.
Yeah, definitely not worth risking anything in the beginning of the race. Bit of fixing here because I was locked in cockpit cam. Now I got the information I want. Top, if possible, could you make yourself a little bit louder now that the engines are running? You are a bit quiet. So, yeah, a bit. Quickly check if I can change anything. No, unfortunately not. So if possible, could you speak up a bit louder? Okay, Joe leads the pack. Then we have Tomsoft, who was really quick in practice. Let's see what if he can translate that into the race. Then in P3, the man I cannot pronounce correctly. I will avoid to call his name at any cost. And Joe starts the race, the first LMP1, followed quickly by the LMP2s. Winsley got the position immediately, and then the GTs. I wonder if Chris is able to hold that position. He has a half-second time penalty. Hey Octavian, thank you for the follow. Have fun, enjoy the race. Tomsoft is indeed flying, already 4 seconds ahead of Winsley. 27.9 to a 28.8, so almost a second the last lap alone. Joe with a 23.5, leading the pack with 16 seconds already. So he's doing a good job, and the GTs are close together as well. Hydramix with a 1 second time penalty, not far off from Freezy in 6th position, and Chris is flying with a gap almost 3 seconds. One minute 26 is Octavian announcing chat from Tomsoft. Yeah, I have to say I am impressed. I think he got 26 in practice when he was there, and I thought, nah, this can't be right. This dude has to have the wrong settings. It's not possible. I was doing 30s, so I was 4.5 seconds slower. Eventually I got down to a low 28, and the gap right now would be a second. That's a gap I could live with, a second, to really strong driver. But if it's 1.5 or even 2 seconds, that's harsh. Octavian just wrote in chat, yeah, that they have proved that they're on a legitimate setup, that they don't cheat. I'm sorry if you thought I meant that. I meant that in no way that you would cheat or anything. I was just really impressed and couldn't believe it. Yeah, to be honest, I would be interested in the setup because I was struggling with setting up the LMP2 Peugeot. Just incredible. The consistency as well. Already 6 seconds to Bunsley, who has time penalty now as well. Yeah, Octavian, a top racer who participated in Stint 1 is commentating as well, but unfortunately his audio seems to be a bit quiet, or I don't know, some settings of mine are wrong. So you can hear me and the audio quite good, but not top. I quickly go back and checking my settings. If I've set up something wrong, I'll be back in a second. Okay, test. I hope everything works now. I've set the slider 4 or 5 clicks to the other side.
Okay, to test my mic.
That's so much better. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Then it was on me. Glad I can finally hear you well.
Oh, great. Okay. So to test the mic, let's speak about the gaps. Mike Joe is leading by 26 seconds. Well, he's on his own class. To Tom Soft using the LMP2 class. Behind him, Brintley is about 8 seconds behind. Shishiman is 11 seconds behind now, still in the LMP2 class. Chris leading the GT class with a Freezy lead is just about 5 seconds behind. So it's still quite tight in the GT class. Hydromix in the McLaren is about 10 seconds behind Freezy. He's in third position at the moment, and our player is last in the GT class, about 8 seconds behind Freezy. Okay, I hope that was loud and clear.
Absolutely perfect. I have to make a great compliment to your cars. They look stunning. I really love the Ford and your LMP2 car.
Thank you. I didn't make the Ford. I only made the Peugeot. I just did it on the fly. I already, basically our color scheme, so at RRC, it's black and red. And there's already been a black and red Peugeot in the real motorsport in the past, and I thought, hang on a minute, if I make the Peugeot, I don't want to replicate the real car. So it was a bit tricky making a livery that would suit our team and make it very different to the Peugeot team. And it kind of worked amazingly. It looks very different. The sponsors are not the same, and it's proper black and red like we all love it at our RSC. So yeah, it was just it's mostly triangles for liveries, nothing special. I'll be honest. I've made better liveries in the past. Like if you followed us before, I made the Mazda RX Vision concept. A livery for the Lago Maggiore race.
Yes.
That was a tribute to the Mazda 787B who won Le Mans in 1991. And I tried to make something that would resemble and give that spirit of the Mazda 787B, something that's consistent and makes winning races. And yeah, I was very delighted to make such a beautiful livery. Another cool livery I made was the I never raced actually. It was the Citroen GT by Citroen, but nobody saw it. It's on my GT Sport and GT7 gallery if you wish to see it. Another cool livery would be the Toyota at Le Mans. I made the Toyotas and the Mercedes. That was an inspiration from the Lancia Monte Carlo, and the idea was to take that black and red real motorsport livery from the 80s and apply it to our LMP1s and Mercedes GT car. And that also worked quite brilliantly. Everyone loved it, I guess. But stop talking about me. Liveries I liked when I raced in DES before. I really liked the DLL livery at Le Mans. That was on the Porsche with the sort of Alpine copy on the rear wing. That was really cool, I'd say.
Yeah,
and
thank you
the
very
British
much.
Racing Green, British Racing Green colours on the Supra and the for the Maggiore race. I liked the FT1 livery as well. That was cool. Very, very nice.
Yeah, let's see where we're going for this race. We have something completely different. Not easy to make something special with the same base color. Poctavian wrote that he liked his Skittles car, the Tom Soft car in second position. Yeah, great as well.
I agree. Yeah, lovely livery.
And quick.
Yeah. He's on the 27.4. That's very quick. As we see the LMP2 cars starting to lap the GT cars right now.
Give us some insight. I think you were still driving and lapping cars before you disconnected. How easy or how difficult was it in traffic?
It was quite difficult. It's when you in the LMP2 class, it's quite difficult to overtake the GT cars because you've got a lot less power, and I mean, the Group 1 cars, you're used to driving them so fast, being so fast, and or with some of them with the hybrids, of course, you've got that immediate push. Now we're down to 500 PS, 500 horsepower, and 970 kilos. So it's a lot more difficult to overtake the GT cars. Because there's lots of corners and very short straights. So the only place where we can really overtake are the long straights, and maybe on the corners, the long curves, like turn 3. This is where you've got loads of downforce, so you can overtake on the outside of this place. But other than that, on the very twisty section, it's so difficult to overtake, really difficult. You don't allow yourself to overtake because it might be tricky, especially with laggy cars around, to overtake. So yeah.
What would your advice be? Give them more power and a bit more weight?
If I would keep the LMP2 cars, I would give them a little more power, just to overtake the GT cars.
Okay, yeah, that's some valuable information, because obviously this is the first custom BOP we are trying to achieve here, and I think we're not completely off in the first version, which is good. I'm glad about this. But yeah, obviously everything needs a bit of fine tuning to get into the right positions, and yeah, we saw most overtakes on the straight line and a lot around the outside turn 3, and some risky moves on other parts of the track where the LMP drivers didn't want to wait and had to make something work out and had to take risks. Octavian writes in chat, my leg was bad, wasn't it? It was horribly bad. It was really, really, really bad. You were jumping left, right, and center. I'm not sure how it was for other drivers, but wasn't too nicely to watch.
No, it was very disturbing. It's not your fault because we know we've got people who didn't lag in GT Sport and who are now lagging, and I know it's not people's fault. It's something wrong in Polyphony's servers. So, as I said earlier, we have to put it with it and wait for an update.
There was the only incident in the first stint between Nuschel and Philip from DLL, where Nuschel dived down the inside and hit him sideways. I thought more on the rear, but there was damage on Philip's car on the front, and it didn't make sense to me what happened, what we saw, and how the damage was displayed. So I would really like to see from Philip's, but also from Nuschel's perspective, how this was, because I think that it would look different on both screens.
I think it's the same for everyone, really. Because we had one colleague who was lagging quite badly in our Realistic Racing Club races, and fortunately managed to improve his internet, but still everyone else was complaining about his lagging. And yeah, I think it's pretty much the same for everyone. When someone lags, everyone else sees it, so you can try to improve your network, your internet. I always recommend having your router quite close to your PlayStation, or having much better if you can, having it wired directly to your router. But that doesn't, well, it helps most cases, but sometimes you might live in a very remote place where there's not many people around, and yeah, internet is just so weak. Well, it's everyone has a different situation, everyone has different internet. Sometimes people have really strong internet and are still lagging, so it's all random. It's really random.
Yeah, Octavian just right that he had it wired in and had still problems. I kid you not, I have a fiber connection for half a year maybe now, and the numbers are fantastic. It's very stable, it's very good. If I have a cable connected, and the router is 2.5 meters away, without a cable, I cannot host because the connection goes away.
Oh wow.
It's really weird. Anyway, Joe got through all GT drivers right now and leads comfortably ahead of Tomso. Half a minute. Winsley 10 seconds ahead of Shishi Man, but half a minute, 30 seconds almost behind Tomsoft. He had one lap of a 1 minute and 40. There he lost about 10 seconds. I didn't caught what happened there. Freezy is the first driver to pit. And I think he crossed a line, either an entry or now an exit.
That's only 2 seconds, because if you cross the line, that's 3 seconds penalty. So you might have cut the circuit somewhere.
Hydromix in 6th position. Just for everyone's information, he's driving without a teammate because he was set with a teammate, but that teammate for work-related reason couldn't make it, and he's a new driver, I think a week in DRS, and really hyped about this event, and with very late notice it came up that he couldn't compete in this race, and he asked if it was possible to race both stints on his own, and he was so much looking into this race, forward to this race, and at his only test race we allowed it, so that's the reason why you saw Hydromix in the first and now also in the second stint.
That's a wonderful story. Well done, Hydromix, for taking part in the DS challenge and doing both stints. You remind me all of these drivers of Le Mans 24 Hours in the 50s, doing crazy long stints and only sharing their wheel for one or 2 hours with the others, and then driving 22 hours. Wow, props to you, well done.
Could you imagine doing that 20 plus hour in the 24-hour race? I couldn't. I simply couldn't.
No, you can't. I mean, you gotta go eventually eat something or I'm not gonna say it, but obviously digest your food. So, I mean, and even empty your food or your water by some way. So, yeah, it is quite crazy. But I mean, I think because you drive, I don't know if you have a car and you go on holiday, but if you drive for long distance and you want to go, for example, to Italy, Italy, very nice for holiday. You go there and you have to drive all these hours to travel to Italy. And I don't know if you're that sort of person who stops every 2 hours for a break, but if you can't drive every 3 hours, 4 hours, and or even 5 hours, not stopping, and you're fine. After 5 hours, you still feel fine. Well, obviously a bit tired, but I think your body, what happens is you're focused on the road and making it to your destination, and your body knows you drive, and it knows you are in an intense concentration moment of making it to your destination, and your body is holding everything together, and is not asking for food or anything. Sleep, maybe you can sleep on driving, and please people go to sleep if you feel tired and you're about to do long journeys. That's dangerous. But other than that, yeah, I think it's just our body and our brain.
One of my favorite stints in DS was the 24-hour Le Mans race. I had a stint which was 2 o'clock in the morning. and it was in the middle of the night. It was dark. It was 3 hours, and it was the longest. But I had such a great rhythm. I didn't realize what I was consciously doing. The body just worked, and you were there in the moment, but you couldn't realize really how time was passing by. You just functioned, and in such a rhythm that you just worked and didn't notice how time went by.
Absolutely, exactly. You just repeating every movement, every laps. Well, excepting if you getting overtaken by an LMP1 or being the fast LMP1 and overtaking a GT car. But your brain is on it. Your brain is simply on it, and you can do all these hours no problem. Obviously, you're tired, but you're just on it and repeating on the rhythm, as you said. And yeah, me too, I absolutely adore driving in the middle of the night for the DES races. I think the quietness of the night makes something quite magical.
Yeah.
And it's always quite interesting because you are racing against other people who are also driving in the middle of the night, except for people maybe living in the US or Australia. But if you're in Europe, it's middle of the night, and you can see them, see how they behave, as well, how they're tired, how they can make mistakes. It's always interesting to compare yourself to the others, driving at the same time of the night.
It will be very interesting because in the second stint, when we are in the middle, maybe in 20 minutes, the sun is really lower and it gets a bit dark. It's not quite night, but we're getting there. It's dawn. No,
Yeah.
not dawn. It's what's the word?
Yeah, dawn.
It
Yeah.
is dawn. Okay, thank you.
Sunset.
Sunset, and in turn, what is it? 5, where you come back on the short straight with the very light kink. Your headlights are shining on some banners, and the sun is gone in sector 3 when you're in the tight corners. So it's quite a nice ambient, and yeah, that's visually such a great step forward from Sport to 7, especially when we're doing 24-hour races in Daytona, on the Nordschleife, on the Nürburgring, in Le Mans. That's something I really look forward to.
Me too, absolutely. How is it gonna be when we're gonna race middle of the night and it's gonna pour in rain? Oh, that's gonna be a big challenge.
Thomas, I'm quite curious what they do with rain, because I've done the 1 hour endurance race in the in-game, what's that? The 800
Spa.
pp Spa race, where the time is speed up by 24, so it's
Yeah.
a 24-hour race effectively, and there's rain coming, and it's the lightest or second lightest indicator, but that's already enough to have full wet tires sometimes. And I wonder what it's going to be like if it's the really torrentious rain and it's going to be the highest setting, and you're going to swim everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And there's really poor visibility when it's raining. You probably noticed that. You've got that wonderful. I love that 1 hour race of Spa. If you haven't done it, I recommend you to do it. Plus, it gives you a lot of credit, so you can buy big cars later. Basically, you start the race. It's dry. It's beautiful. There's the sunset. You can see the beautiful sun and the sunset, the dawn, the orange light coming over. So it makes the race quite magical already in the first 15 minutes. Then there's the night coming out, and when it's fully dark, it starts raining. I'm not spoiling the race for you, but it's dark and you can't see a thing, and you got to think about your tires. Which tires are you gonna use? So you're looking at your radar, how long it's gonna rain. That's probably one of a slight drawback about Gran Turismo 7 when it comes to the radar. You can only see 100 kilometers, 60 miles all around you, but you can't see more than that, and it's difficult to predict if the rain is going to last for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or just 2 minutes. So, yeah, I think the weather radar is a bit too small. I'd like to see it at 1,000 kilometers or 600 miles wide. But back to the race, it's dark, you can't see anything, and you got to work with these conditions, but it's so immersive. I really love that race.
I think it's the best stock race that the game has to offer, and really looking forward to have this here in the AS. Obviously, the stock race has a time multiplier by 24. We have multiplier times 1 or maybe times 2.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bit more predictable than this. The situation is still the same, and we have to look for rain. And what you said, is it going to stay? Is it going by? Do I need to change tires at all, or do I risk it and stay on slick tires? That's really proper racing that we couldn't do in sport that we finally have here in 7.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So coming back to the race currently, so the Mighty Joe in LMP1, all on his own, is about 36 seconds ahead of Tom Soft, leading the LMP2 class. And behind Shishiman is about 55 seconds behind Tom Soft, and is about 1 minute and 30 seconds behind the LMP1. Brindley is third in the LMP2 class. He's about 35 seconds behind Shishiman, so that's around 1 minute and, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, a little more than 1 minute and 25 seconds behind the leader in LMP2. Chris is leading the GT class, is leading by 8.5 seconds to Freezy, second place in the GT class. Good surprise is our player is now third. He overtook Hydromix. I wonder what happened to Hydromix. We didn't catch that. He lost some ground, but he's only about 4.5 seconds behind our player. So there's battles for first and seconds, and third and fourth on their own, but they can still fight later in the race, and we'll see depending on the pit stop strategies.
Yep, Bunsley already pitted. And
that's why he's third. Okay.
Yes, I believe he has to stop once more, while P2 and P3 are doing a one-stopper. So this is going to be really interesting. Maybe we see a similar situation with the GTs. It was Nushel and Philip in the first stint were really close, and Nushel decided for a two-stopper, and Philip went for a soft medium one-stopper.
Yeah.
So that's an alternative as well.
Yeah, interesting. This is why we love endurance races, all these strategies. It's not just driving a car around the circuit. It's also about trying to lose the least amount of time in the pits. Awesome. Good racing.
Yep. That's definitely a step forward with the tires. In sport, it was pretty clear that you want to use the quickest available tire the most amount of times. And now I'm not quite sure about this, especially with having the refueling speed set to 2 liters per second. It is more beneficial to lift and coast, especially for the LMP cars. If you arrive on traffic, just back off. Maybe you lose a second or 1.5 on entry, but you gain it back. If you couldn't overtake otherwise, you can save some fuel, especially on tracks like Le Mans with the very long straights. Just back off and save 0.1 liter every time, and you lose maybe a second a lap only on a 3-minute lap.
and it can be worth it because you can save the whole pit stop and maybe the 20 or 30 seconds you're going to lose just to get to your pit crew changing the tires and putting fuel in your tank.
Oh no, we
And
lost
Brinsley got
Vincent.
disconnected. Oh no.
That's
Really
very...
bad luck for this second RRC car. Both of them disconnected in race 1 and race 2.
That's a shame. He was doing well. Tomsoft was quicker, but the battle for P3 was very interesting. Different strategies, similar pace. Yeah, he just wrote in chat, awesome game. So no fault on his own. Kevin, what happened? Was it your internet or the game? Yellow flag in sector 3. I'm riding with Chris, but couldn't make out what happened. As Sheishiman and our player are both in the pit lane. Game error.
Oh no.
I can't believe it. Yeah, very, very sorry for you. Kevin, you started as my teammate, but didn't thought he could make it because he had problems with his pedal and he thought that he couldn't race at all today. But somehow it fixed it itself, or he fixed it and he could race. And he teamed up, and yeah, he got rewarded like this. That sucks.
As we see our player in the pits, and Chishiman just left out the pits. So he's got fresh new tyres, a bit more fuel, and he's now about, we are still waiting for the gaps between first and second in the LMP2 class. Our player is out of the pits, he's got fresh new tyres, and he completely refueled.
Yeah, also on racing medium tires, so he definitely can go to the end of the race. And nice to see that the Ford has some pandas as well.
Yeah, it's our little, we like pandas at RRC, we like them quite a lot.
To be honest, I tried to convince DLL for Mad Panda racing livery. There's a team that's called Mad Panda.
Oh yeah,
They have
exactly.
that mascot, and the livery are just panda heads that looking mad. I thought it was quite fitting for us, but unfortunately they were against that
Oh
idea.
really?
Oh, Hydromix spinning in turn 5, that is. Yeah, quite as unfortunate as that livery decision.
No damage, so he's fine, he's back on the track.
He's also on racing medium tires, so he did the first stint and now the second, so maybe he has the best insight on what tires are the best, and he went for the mediums. When Philip for DLL went to the medium tires, he was doing mid to high 1 minute 40 lap times, and Nuschel was medium high 1 minute 39. So the difference at the beginning of the stint was about a second between the tires, and I think that's absolutely okay if you think about doing a longer stint, more laps on the medium tires, and potentially saving one pit stop in a very long stint of 2 or even 3 hours. Octavian, your teammate is doing a 26.5 as a personal best. Pretend,
As we see Freezy going into the pits.
I pretend not to be impressed by that lap time.
26.5, yes, incredible.
Big compliment to Freezy as well. He's doing a traineeship, and he just had a row of tests he had to write, and he has a short break now, and he came back to race. He doesn't had the time and moved, so he sold his steering wheel, and he's driving on pad. I don't know, for the 5th or 6th time practice for this race, and he's doing really well for being on a pad.
Absolutely, yeah, well done. The transition back to pad from the steering wheel is very difficult, and it takes a lot of time to adapt because you're so used to with steering wheel to be so precise, and suddenly you've got a device that is not as precise, and it's not natural to have a pad in your hands. So to adapt to it is quite incredible. Well done, Freezy.
I don't know about you, but I tried going from pad to wheel, and it took me months to be somewhat competitive.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
when I go back to pad, it's the other way around. I don't know, 5 seconds off the pace and can't put my head around how to do this mechanically with the fingers and buttons. It just doesn't make sense, and
yeah.
To be somewhat competitive again, that takes a lot of effort.
Absolutely, yeah. It's transitioning to one another. It's so much effort and so much muscle memory, basically. You get all this muscle memory by racing a whole year on the pad, and you got to adapt to your steering wheel, or vice versa, going back to a pad. All this muscle memory you got to build takes time, and adjust your brain also. But I don't know if you, for the PS5 players, I don't know if you tested the new controller with the haptic feels on Gran Turismo 7. I've got my steering wheel. I'm fine with it. I really love it. I won't go back to the pad, but I did try the pad for a bit and see how it's like, because Sony made quite a lot of advertisement on the pad, and yeah, it's quite. At first, it's very strange. You can feel some resistance in the R2 and L2 buttons, with R2 being the throttle and L2 being the brake. You feel that resistance. You can feel when you brake. You can feel the controller shaking, but not like the older controllers on PS4, PS3, where it vibrates. No, this is vibration that replicates the ABS, and it's incredible. You've got the feeling of the brakes in your hands. That is something quite new. And even when, also for the throttle, if you're a bit too hard on the throttle and you feel the wheel spinning a bit, you can feel, well, that's what I meant, that you can feel the wheel spinning on your right fingers, so right hand. That's incredible. And I mean, now we can start looking at pad players being competitive compared to wheel users, because we've got all these informations. As wheel users, we don't have the throttle or the brake vibrating when we are on it, but now the pad players do have this information, so that gives them a bit of an advantage.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Octavian wrote, PS5 controller is good, better than expected. Of course, not as fast as a wheel, but solid. And I think that's a good point. It brings controller players closer to where they need to be competitive. It doesn't need to be a two-class system where you can't even compete with a wheel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Previously, before the PS5, I've seen so much complaints, rightful complaints though. I mean, people on the plan were complaining, "Oh, come on, we're slow, we're not as consistent as the wheel users," and to balance that is very difficult. You can't really balance it. I mean, maybe people in other leagues used to add 5 or 10 kilos to the cars of the drivers to give a bit more balance between the pad and the wheel users. And now it might not be with the PS5. It might not be an issue as much that much. We see pad players being as competitive to wheel users, and even wheel users got, I don't know, crazy direct drive wheels like fanatics.
Out of interest, what wheel are you using?
I've got a Fanatec GT ZD Pro, and I've got Fanatec V3 inverted pedals. What do you have at home?
The same wheelbase, but the standard pedals that came with it. And
Oh, okay, yeah.
so far I'm happy. It works. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And the level of feedback increased, and I think you're not getting quicker with a wheel or even an expensive wheel, but you get more precise, and that helps you over the course of the race. Maybe not for a qualifying lap, one single lap, but over the time you get more precise, can avoid mistakes better or correct
Yeah.
mistakes, be better on tires, smoother on the throttle, more precise when turning in under braking,
Exactly.
things like this.
Yeah, more consistent overall. Yeah, helps you to produce the same lap times every single laps, and that's quite crucial, I'd say, because a race is just not one on just one lap. It has to be one on, I don't know, 48 laps, like the race we're watching at the moment. And I'd say if you are planning to upgrade on your steering wheel, uh, well, take the time to watch the reviews for each steering wheels, wheelbases, or pedals. You don't need crazy money to have fun. If you've got standard Logitech G29, I mean, and you'll be fine. That's a great wheel, and you still have tons of fun. The only positive of having a high-end steering wheel like a Fanatic is, of course, you've got more feeling. You be a bit more consistent, but it's just the quality of the product on Fanatec is much higher. Of course, it's not plastic; it's all metal. You've got F1 steering wheels. It's just improved your experience. That's what I'm saying. And do I recommend going to Fanatec? If I'm honest, no, don't. If you keep your money, if you just race occasionally, but if you race every day, you just want a better experience. Yes, it's absolutely go for Fanatec, but don't empty your bank account, because that's the problem with Fanatec or Thrustmaster. Logitech very soon, because they released a new direct drive
Yes,
wheel.
Trustmasters as well. So I
Yeah,
hope it really widens up the range of available products, um, brings the prices a bit down, and enables people to get into the sport or to get to wheels and the quality they provide much easier.
absolutely, yeah. But it was,
Tomsoft and Joe were in the pit lane, and Tomsoft is now lapped later than half distance of the race. That's phenomenal pace. I think
yeah,
everyone was lapped twice or even three times. Tomsoft is going to get lapped only once if he can hold that pace.
amazing. Great driving. Well done.
Um, Joe's lap time 24:4.25. Very consistent lap times actually.
Yeah. And his fastest lap was a 22.9. That's very good.
I have to be careful. I just read that in chat, and I read it out loud, and I thought, okay, I'm just lining up here for Yo Mama joke here. Simtigro, he stole my fastest lap. Simtic, do you want to participate in a third stint? Only for you, just to get the quickest lap time. I set it up that there's no race fuel, so you start 50 kilos lighter. Now he's writing it. You asked for it.
There's a chat battle. That's interesting.
Okay, apparently I can't pronounce who's driving in third position, and I'm avoiding the name of the driver in P1.
Shishiman. Shishiman is in third position, is being lapped by second place Tom Soft, but is very consistent, is on his own rhythm, and is not trying to push too hard, just trying to bring it home. In the GT class, Chris will certainly pit very soon because his tires are worn out and is low on fuel. And behind Freeze is about 44 seconds. As we see Chris entering the pits.
Yeah, incredible that he survived that long, not only with a few, but especially on that on those racing soft tires.
Yeah, and he's a pad player, so it shows you don't especially need to have a steering wheel to be good. Great job, Chris.
Octavian writes, there's no such thing as pad supremacy. I believe in cockpit cam supremacy.
That is quite... driving in cockpit cam is something very difficult to do. And I have huge respect for people driving cockpit cams because, especially with very small TVs, you can't see much out in the cockpit cam. As we see, interrupting, there's a Freezy battling with Chris, and they're both side by side. But Freezy managed to get ahead. He slightly went off of the track, but Chris is now on the inside and is getting passed back ahead again. Great battle.
Yeah, very important for Chris. They are on a similar pace. Freezy's tires are a bit worn, obviously, but this way Chris can use his fresh rubber and get away and avoid this battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think cockpit cam, yes, it is difficult. Your vision is limited because you're sitting inside the car. You have the car blocking your vision effectively. But I think it's like using assist with time and practice. You get used to it and it feels the most natural for me. So that's why I use it. To be honest, it is really difficult in the LMP cars because it limits your vision quite a lot. It is easier in the GT cars. Oh, Chris did a mistake.
Chris went really wide and the Freezy got past back ahead. But for how long Freezy's gonna hold Chris? Because Freezy's on old tires right now. And he may have to pit again.
Yes. I think 3 or 4 laps his fuel just turned red. So there can't be much left. But Chris has a good run out of the last corner.
Freezy's he's defending, and Chris not quite can be there. Freezy's going back on the outside of the track to make the corner.
And nice to see the cars now lighting up their front lights, and it gets reflected nice on the rear wing.
Yeah. And finally it's getting dark. We can still see the cars, but it feels a lot darker everywhere. But we can see the brakes glowing. This game looks so good. That's another very positive aspect of GT7. It looks so realistic, pretty much real life like. The graphics are so, realistic. As Chris got a penalty, so he will lose ground to Freezy. the mighty Joe, setting up purple sectors at the moment and just set the fastest lap. Well, all logically because he's the only LMP1 car racing at the moment, 22.5.
Freezy going this defensive again.
Yeah, Chris is still back behind him despite his penalty.
I hope they notice Joe behind them.
Yeah. Oh, where's Joe gonna go? Oh, he
Through the middle.
went well done in the middle, yeah.
Freezy did the mistake. I hope he intended to go a bit wider to allow the LMP1 through. It's not easy to have the overview what's going on behind you, especially in the Mercedes because it doesn't have a rear mirror. You only have the traditional rear mirror, and you can't see shit through that, to be honest.
Yeah. So in the GT class, Freeze is leading Chris by just less than a second. Hydromix is third with a 2 seconds penalty, is about 1 minute and 15 seconds behind. And our player is behind, almost a lap behind.
I have to say, our player, he's driving in last position on his own, but I really have high respect for a driver that keeps just going and is doing his best, not giving up and going to the end.
Absolutely, yeah. Just driving and enjoying the moment on their own. It's great. They always bring something to a race, even if they're on their own and they might not have so much fun. But still, shout out to them.
Chris is still behind Freezy. Freezy can't have, maybe 1 lap or 2 laps of fuel left.
Yeah.
And Tom Soft right behind them. Maybe Tom Soft can get 1, maybe even 2 drivers here on the back straight. Got Chris, but maybe not Freezy. They're both on the brakes around the outside. I hope Freezy sees him. Oh, it was close, but it worked out. Conti writes, I should have raced here instead of F1. Again, got punted 3 times. My string of bad luck doesn't want to end, yeah. Again, I'm very sorry, Confi. Yesterday in RSC was a DTM race and Confi got punted off or did a mistake really early on in the race. I was involved in an incident and got back at the end of the field, and then I did an overtake attempt and I think I didn't touch him at all. Maybe there was a very slight contact on my screen, but it was completely different for Confi. It was big touch on his side and he got punted off by me.
Yeah, sorry, Confi. Sadly, that's the sort of thing that happens in motorsport. Cruel law of motorsport wants you to live the great moments and also the bad moments, and you have to live with it, accept it. It's the law of motorsport overall. But yeah, hopefully on the next one it's going to be a much better one for you, Mike. Yeah.
Simtic, thank you very much. He said the purple looks good. And maybe we can do something with green and purple and do like a Joker from Batman car. Oh, Freezy did a mistake.
Yeah, Fraser
Uh,
went very wide, and oh, he managed to keep the lead there.
that must be very frustrating for Chris. He almost had it. I think he put too much throttle and lost traction. But now Freezy has to go to the pits anyway. But it was a very great fight.
Very good battle, yes. Very enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, Jakal rides driver of the day, Freezy, and yeah, to be honest, it was a very great fight.
The Mighty Joe is still improving his overall fastest laps, 122.387.
I wonder if he does that on a normal lap, or if he sacrificed a lap before to gain energy on the hybrid for a
Yeah, good
little extra
question.
boost. The lap before was 22.7, so probably not. Oh, Shishi man got wide,
Oh,
back on the
he's in the
track.
gravel, yeah.
Yeah. No
After he's done
damage.
his own, yeah, he's fine. He's back on the track. He's done his personal best, 129.009. But he's still a long way off. Tom Soft has just done a 126.3.
Yeah, he's just mad. I
Yeah,
mean 29 is definitely not a bad lap time, but I don't know what Tomsoft is doing is a league on its own. It's really incredible.
you said Shishi Man, didn't you? You finally said it. Woohoo!
I believe I said it like this 1,000 times, and Comfy always say I do it wrong. I think he's just messing with me. He sits there in Switzerland and thinks, ah, damn it. He finally knows it wasn't wrong all the time. But to be honest, Comfy did really good memes in Dragon Trail, where we had two different splits, and I commentated the second split, and he was in the first split. He made a meme. For goodness sake, he's in a different stream. I can't pronounce his name wrong. Something like this. It was really funny. And in Le Mans, the Anakin Skywalker meme, where it's not only the Shishi man, but also the Shishi woman and Shishi
Yeah,
children.
Coffee is a legend at making memes. Always making us laugh. Well, mate, you had probably a bad race tonight, Coffee, but you make us laugh, and you can be happy about that.
Chris is leading Freezy almost 40 seconds and
Yeah,
probably doesn't have to pit again. Bit unfortunate. I would like to see those two together again for the last 5-6 laps. What they have would have been very interesting. Yeah, but Chris, I think overall with a slightly better pace, and so far no mistakes what I saw.
very good driving, Chris. He's driving like he's eating popcorn.
Oh no! Oh no! There's an accident in turn 4. Joe and Hydramix collided. I
Oh
think there
no.
was a bit of a misunderstanding which driver can go on the inside or on the outside. And I think that's the first accident we had today between different categories where there was a misunderstanding. Or maybe even a mistake where one braked too early or too late. Bit unfortunate. 3 laps before the end of the race for Joe.
So that means Hydramix will have to pit to repair his damage, and our player will probably close up to Hydramix. It won't be enough to catch Hydromix, but it makes both drivers a lot closer. As Chris is lapping Hydromix at the moment.
Let's see. The gap is 1 minute 21, and our player is getting close to that point where the accident was. So he's gaining time from this point onwards, and Hydromix is trying to continue. I'm not sure if this is quicker. There are not many laps left. Maybe yes. Joe is also continuing despite having damage on his right rear wheel.
That's true fighting spirit. You may have damage, but you want to bring it home no matter what. Reminds me of Henry Pascarola driving without any wipers at Le Mans 1968. While it was the middle of the night and was pouring rain. That's a legendary story of endurance racing.
It's truly unbelievable how not only brave but mostly mad this is. Doing, I don't know what were they doing in the late 60s, probably 280 slim tires, very low safety measurements, and without Vipers, unbelievable. Yeah, Confi, Hydromix. I saw one different scenario where there was blue flags for the same category where he didn't follow them. So I think, yeah, we need to clarify this. But mostly it was very fair today. Yeah, and by the way, Top and I are definitely happy that we cheered you up with that.
Well, it's Hydromix's first proper endurance race, so I mean, with us, it might not be experienced to drive multi-class. But he's doing great for. He's still going. He's not stopping. He's still going. Not wanting to stop. That's really interesting. Well done, mate.
Take a look at Tom Soft's fastest lap time. He said
25.884. That is incredible.
He is 2.5 seconds off an LMP1 car, despite being, I don't know, 100 kilos heavier and having 50 horsepower, brake horsepower less, and obviously no hybrid.
Yeah.
Octavian, with your disconnect, that will be sorted out, right? Yes. So basically, we need the time, the lap where you're disconnected, and the gap that you had to position 1. And given from the pace you have from your qualifying lap, we estimate what your lap times would be, and in that area we can say, okay, he would have done, let's say, 1 minute 30 every lap, round about that. Then we can say, okay, the gap would be in this area, so it would be P3 or P4, something like this. But it's not like you have a disconnect you completely out.
As we see the mighty Joe finishing the race in P1. Well done for finishing. Well done, mighty Joe. Tom Soft is behind, is about half of the circuit behind. He's going to finish the race first in LMP2. Shishiman's been lapped, I'm guessing is about 2 laps behind Tom Soft.
Yes.
Chris is leading the GT class, is about 37 seconds behind. Is about 37 seconds ahead of Freezy. Freezy in second place. Hydromix is about 1 minute and 17 seconds behind Freezy, and our player just finished the race, not in the same lap as the other GT cars. Well done, guys. Well done, Tom Soft. That was an awesome race, absolutely incredible pace, I have to say. You've done an awesome job, and Chiffy Man finishing the race, despite his slower pace, is still always consistent, doing a great job. Chris, well done, finishing first in the GT class. That's a wonderful result. After Nushel finishing also first in the first stint. So that's a win for the RC GT class. Freezy finishing the race in second place. Well done, Freezy, with so little practice and on the pad as well. Well done, Freezy. Hydromix is third, and our player is fourth. That's the result of the race, and that was a good race. Well done, everyone.
Yep, very happy with today. We had almost 100 races, and I would say 95 and more were clean, and the concept that we're testing definitely worked, and we can improve on that, what we learn, and improve the BOP, clarify rules, and bring this kind of racing for a championship for the next year and start this.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to see how it's all gonna grow, and with bigger races like the Nürburgring, Le Mans, Spa, or other races on fictional racetracks like Maggiore. That was a really good race on GT Sport last year, and I can't wait to see all of this with dynamic weather. And yeah, just in hope lobbies will improve by then, and the game will be a lot more stable to accommodate everyone.
So, top, I would say we cut it here. Thank you very much for joining and commentating with me. Thank you for the viewers that stayed and commented. It was really enjoyable for me.
Yeah, me too. That was good commentating. I'll probably do more in the future. That was good. Thank you, Charles.
Yeah, let's see. We have another test race coming up that we want to announce soon, and hopefully we see and hear each other again then.
Yeah, absolutely. Pleasure. All right. Well, thanks everyone, and well done everyone for finishing the race. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everyone. Take care, Charles. See ya.
Good night.
Good night.